until 2018, we're 2.4 million in debt. So how many citations equals
No, I
that?
mean, if 100 people who come in and get cited for moving violation, how many of those 100 just pay and are done? Or how many of those 100 go pay within 90 days, and how many of those 100 just don't pay? You know, and I know you probably, I'm not asking for that now,
No, that's okay.
but I'm just saying that, I mean, we as a board know so little about the operation of the municipal court. I just feel like, you know, there may be ramifications that we don't understand because we don't really, you know, get who's in there and why they're not paying. And
So since I've been here in Shorewood, many defendants, and I've worked on that, is we are having online payments. Shorewood never had that. So defendants didn't know how to pay. The only way they could pay was either come here and pay in person, or go to the police department, or mail in their citations. And let's face it, it's 2018, everyone is using online. So hopefully that's going to increase revenue tremendously. And then the other issue, a lot of defendants, they don't, like I said, they don't understand the procedure on how a smaller municipality works. They don't understand like how the process works to pay these citations or how the courts work, so they don't show up. Many of the defendants that come in, they say, I didn't know I was supposed to come in. I thought I'd just pay. Like, they just don't have an understanding. So I think educating people on how that works.
We're going to need to wrap up this item if we're going to get through the agenda. And so if anyone has any other pertinent, thank you for all the education that you provided tonight. And as Trustee Amenta said, please keep us updated and abreast more so than we have been, I'd say, in the last 3 years. Maybe with quarterly or yearly statistics or reports, that would be really helpful. Mark, did you have one comment?
My comment was kind of similar to that. I'm sure there's a lot of things along the way that can be done to improve communications with people who have been in a situation where they've been cited for either violations or offenses. But the focus here is, you know, for things that are past that point. These are processes that are long over the normal course of communications and correspondence and notices. And again, simple recommendation is just, do we want to exercise these manners of further trying to resolve those issues, or is that just not something that the village wants to get into? And either way.
So wrapping it up, and then Trustee Amenta, you'll be the last question we take. I believe that we can move forward with increasing our revenues through collections of fines that are overdue. I mean, these are violations that people have committed, and I do feel that people should pay their violations. Trustee Maher had mentioned we'll maybe re-looking at the ordinance about license suspensions. That's something the board can consider in the future, and I feel like that's something maybe we can support that could take care of that worry about collection of fines. The other thought, though, is to just let staff know that if this passes from the board, increased communication to our residents about how they can pay fines and what that means would be really beneficial, especially if it's an online payment, just stepping up the communication. So I didn't know, I don't believe most of us knew a lot of the things tonight, and so increased communication would help offset some of the calls we may get. Trustee Amenta?
I'd just like to ask that the Human Relations Commission take up this question, some of the questions I was asking about the demographics and the city of origin of people who we see in municipal court, especially since we're now going on an aggressive collection effort towards people. And the driver's license issue is another issue that I think Human Relations should be looking at more intensely.
Thanks, it's a great idea. Okay,
I'm not, this is a lot of money, that, and if our ordinances are going to be meaningful, there should be some penalties associated, and if we're just walking away. I think I'm more concerned about understanding how it's being administered and making sure it's not harming persons that cannot pay or somehow hurting their, and might be interesting to hear from the village attorney, how they're administering. And I also was looking through this ordinance on the 90 days, I couldn't find it in here. So more information would be helpful. At this point, I'm not comfortable with it, but I think I need more information on exactly the mechanics of this thing.
I would like to make a comment.
Sure, just okay.
Yeah, I think that the difficulty of looking at this from an administrative and fiscal responsibility is that the concern that the defendants in our court are disproportionately of color or of low income. And that is something that, and so moving forward with an operation that would address penalties and fees that are owed to the municipality is difficult, knowing that there's this topic that we haven't talked about in our community, and if there's anything that we can do about that. So I think I am comfortable handling it separately, knowing that we have made a commitment as a municipality through the Human Relations Commission to look at our court and our police practices and citations, and that's going to be a long-term process because we're part of a society which is across the board an issue of race and inequity. So that's why tonight I think I can support this, knowing that I do believe that we have a commitment to pursue those dynamics.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, if there's a motion, I will entertain it at this time. I can make a motion if no one else would like to. Is there one written in here?
It's on the cover.
I move to approve the implementation of the enhanced collections process for outstanding municipal fees as proposed. Uh-oh,
I have a question on the motion.
because we already made it?
Well, there are three different, there's the police, the memo from the police, and there's also the property taxes issue. So are we approving all three in this motion, or are we just approving the one we?
So I was under the assumption we're approving the SDC and,
All three was my intent, and when I phrased that, if I can phrase it and take them separately for clarity, I can really understand.
okay, what should we take? We only talked about two, correct?
The only thing about it.
SDC?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I withdraw that motion, and I move to approve the implementation of the enhanced collection process for outstanding municipal fees through the SDC.
Court fees, maybe.
Or court fees, okay, outstanding court fees
That's proposed.
as proposed. I want to put in the word SDC, right?
No, that's all of
Necessary.
them. The court fees, we got
Okay.
citations, and we got property taxes.
Can you just read that back?
Yep. Approve the implementation of enhanced collection processes for the outstanding court fees as proposed.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Yes.
So I'll say one thing, I share an interesting matters concern that if you have ordinances and you want to be able to, need to be able to enforce those ordinances, and Trustee Maurer and Amanda both commented that I think we need further information. I fully agree with that. And sorry if I'm not trying to mistake. I agree that we do need further information, but I do like, going off Trustee McCaig's comment that we have made a commitment to look at this through the Human Relations Commission. I'd like further information to come back here as to how this program works, what kind of debts we're collecting, and just kind of further information on the run of the court in general. But I'm inclined to support the motion at this point.
Thank you. Trustee Amanda.
I haven't been to the most recent Human Relations Commission meeting, so is it true that the Human Relations Commission has set aside court operations as an area of interest? I don't know if that's true or not.
There is, so the last meeting, they started to discuss, it was supposed to be the last business meeting, and then they were going to break off into work groups, but they just chose not to. They're not ready to. They have not discussed exactly, like, they haven't laid out a work plan for themselves, but one of the subgroups that they are forming is a legislative, operational, municipal work group, so that would fall under that work group, and I'm sure if the board asked for them to look at it, which sounds like we are doing, that they would be receptive. Any further questions? Okay, with that, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries 4-2. Thank you. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you, and I'm sure we look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Okay, thank you.
So the next topic of part of this memo is on parking citations. Mark.
Well, perhaps we could start with a similar motion for parking citations, and then a discussion could ensue. Again, it's really been summarized in the memo.
Usually we wait for the motion just in case there's like rather than doing the minutes.
Okay,
That's
well, I
okay.
have nothing to add other than what's in the memo.
Does anyone have questions on parking citation collection, increased parking citation collection? Trustee Otto.
Is there a backlog that Duncan is going to start, or is this just moving forward?
There is a backlog, I forget what the quoted number is, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Is it in the memo?
$285,000 is on the top of page 3 of that memo, which is really the recommendation to enact this next step. And again, this was largely done, or previously was administered through departmental staff. That is no longer practical given the needs of the departments. This has been 3-4 years of not pursuing this matter at the staff level, plus any gaps that may have occurred. Again, Duncan has got a record of all the outstanding citations from when that system was implemented, and the historical data was migrated into that system, so their personnel would be able to proceed with this. Again, there's going to be a collection cost to this, but staff's perspective is getting 70% of whatever you can collect is better than getting 100% of nothing, because that's where we're at right now. So basically, the endeavor is to engage Duncan to move to the auto-collect portion of their software and service application suite. I think that was always the intent, but again, there's been a lot of staff transition, both the police administration and clerical support over there. Again, if you take a look at what we're doing, we've identified this as a need to be resolved. And this is, again, just dealing with the trip system and making sure that those records are updated and filed both in and out as payments are received. That's pretty much the crux of it in a nutshell.
Trustee Warren?
So can I just to summarize, so currently what happens is the police department goes to the trip system to try to collect outstanding payments. But going forward, if we go through Duncan will essentially take over, draft collection letters, then work with the debtor to collect any outstanding debts. So in other words, it's more effort aimed at collecting our debts through this system. And as I understand it, this again won't impact registration or license suspension. This is purely a debt collection mechanism. Is that correct?
That's correct. And again, just to be clear, historically, staff used to try to use the trip system. They no longer have staff resources to do that.
Okay, so
we're not doing that. So getting into the trip and the other steps here identified on pages 3, 4, and 5. I think it's 3, 4, and 5. And then again, that's cross-integrated to make sure the records are, in fact, kept up to date, both locally and at the state level.
Mark, when you you say we don't have this, we don't know, I don't even want to say this out loud, but we do know, at this time, we do no attempt of collection of parking tickets that aren't paid?
That is correct.
And,
Short of late notices. We
right,
do 2 late notices.
yep. But the parking, but, so, and as trustee Warren had said, and then after 90 days, it just automatically gets reported to, how does it get reported
The
to?
DMV reporting for vehicle suspension is already currently part of the funding process. It's automated,
So it's part of the current system we already pay
part
for?
of the current system, right?
So
But
when
that's where it ends.
So the actual resident that has this happen, so say they forget to pay their ticket for 90 days, they get these notices, they're out of town, whatever it may be. They now have something on their record at DOT, for the registration that they probably don't even know about.
DOT will send notice of suspension of your vehicle registration, and that obviously is due process matter, so.
Okay, and then, other than that though, so if you implement this system, it appears that they will send you even